okay, I am in my car again and it is super dark. I've been studying all night. I just wanted to go for a drive and talk about something that kind of weighs on me frequently. And just be fully candid. So a lot of people that I meet and a lot of people that I read about online or that that I already know, so on and so forth, feel as though very frequently when they do something that goes against their morals, their ingrained morals from childhood or morals that they've learned, that they're irredeemable, that they've become somebody who they are ashamed of, and in that they feel as though there's nowhere to go in life. And I was one of those people as well. Probably 4 years ago, I saw at one point kind of no reason to continue existing, due to, I guess, just internal guilt and shame that I felt for some of my actions. And it took me a while to kind of come to terms with it. And I eventually ended up hitting a crossroads, which was either I just give up today or I don't. And it sounds simple, but here's my kind of thought process in regards to that. So if you look at the summation of your existence as a series of, okay, some of this might be good for humanity, some of this might be bad for humanity, and look at it as, I guess, maybe just an X graph. So you just have one line. And then in the center, you have zero. Think about it like a number line. In the center, it's 0. To the left, obviously, then you have your negatives, and to the right, you have your positives. And if you do one good task, let's just say it's worth 1 good point, so you're in the positive one. If you do one bad thing, let's just say it's in the negative one. Okay, maybe it's obviously going to be more nuanced. It's definitely better to save a life on this scale, let's just say. And there's many ways you can go about doing that than it is to, I don't know, maybe feed your cat. Obviously, you have to feed your cat, but you know what I'm saying. And there's worse things that you can do that tip you further to the left. Either way, the idea that I think everything kind of comes down to, in the sense of the principle of being redeemable, is that to be irredeemable, you have to, I guess, just theoretically, be somebody whose harm in existence is so great that, and it will continue to be so great through recurrent actions, that your very existence on the planet isn't that negative. But that's extraordinarily hard to kind of be. If you think about it again as the y-axis, then, or sorry, the x-axis, then essentially, to justify your existence, all you have to do is literally just be better than you have been worse. So essentially what that looks like is, if you've committed a series of negative atrocities, let's just say you've done a bunch of horrible things and you feel guilt, that's already a great first step, essentially, because if you feel guilt, that insinuates that you have some sort of internal moral compass, which a lot of people don't have. A lot of people who kind of take part in the conversations of being irredeemable actually don't even care. And so, like, if you do care, that's already a great first step. Let's give some positive points there. So it's already a great first step to feel some form of sorrow or guilt. But essentially all you have to do to justify your existence is literally just do better than you've done worse. So let's just say, for example, you're 19, 20, 21. You've done some crazy stuff growing up. You've made some mistakes. You've been a person that you're otherwise not happy with. Let's say you read media or you watch movies, whatever it may be, and you kind of like look at characters and you're like, ah, man, this is someone I look up to in this story. If I was in the story, I would not like myself. You start doing things like that, and you start kind of becoming sick to your stomach as to who you are, or who you may be becoming. You're at the age. I'm just giving that age range because it's. I think this is where you're going to commonly feel this. You have so much time ahead of you to right your wrongs, maybe not with the people you've wronged, but with the earth that you walk on. And that is essentially the foundation that you kind of need to keep your grasp on in pertinence to being a redeemable human being. Of course, it's subjective. Who you hurt and how you hurt them that's not something I'm able to talk about. And if you're never forgiven by a specific person or, you know, something like this, that's well within their right. They don't need to forgive you for you to redeem yourself. And that's of course the old, you know, you have to forgive yourself. That's what matters the most. And in part, in a way that's true. I think a lot of people forgive themselves because they're actually evil, in the sense of, oh, I just forgive myself for doing that horrible thing. I'm going to continue to do that horrible thing because maybe I'm a sociopath, in the sense of I actually don't feel what these other people feel, and even that's just that, even that's a disability, like, you know, antisocial personality disorder. But that's one thing. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, you need to forgive yourself if you wish to become better and better the world in that process. You have to see that graph and say, maybe I was born in the middle and I've done things that have gotten me to boop, 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 down in the negatives, but I have so much life ahead of me and I want to utilize that existence with my 2 arms and my 2 legs. Maybe you're in a wheelchair. You don't even need legs. You don't even need arms. You just need, essentially, to say, whatever I have, I want to use it to become and be a better human being. And I want my net impact on society to, at the time of my death, be positive. You can do that. That's possible for like almost everybody. So, and you might partake in this journey before you forgive yourself. You may find that you need to initiate this journey before you even find it possible to forgive yourself. You may never forgive yourself, but find logically that this is a definite, in that you are now more beneficial to society than if you had given up at X, Y, and Z time. You might not be able to forgive yourself, but if you're a logical person in your head, you might be like, okay, well, my existence is justified. I'll still never be able to forgive myself, but I'm glad that I've continued going on because I do care about the world and I do feel shame for who I've been and I want to be better. So I at least can sleep saying that, you know, I have become better. That's a positive way to go as well. Hopefully you can, by this time, kind of see that I'm narrowing in on the fact that giving up, whatever that may look like, I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say on YouTube, is very frequently the absolute worst decision you can make. If you've committed a series of negative actions, giving up then and there means that you leave this world with just that having been committed. You've come in, you've made the place worse, and then you've left. And if your idea behind leaving is that you've made the place worse, then you I really want to speak to the fact that you absolutely are redeemable. If you're capable of feeling shame for that specific way of being, then you need to understand that you can undo it, and that if you feel shame for how negative you've been to the world, then you will feel so much pride when you inevitably right your wrongs and you tip the scale drastically to the positive. In a matter of fact, you're armed with the knowledge of what it means to feel guilt for being a bad human being. All you realistically have to do is abide by a set of principles that say, I am going to justify my existence by harming little to nobody. Obviously, you can't avoid it, but doing your best to prevent hurt, and you can even just stop there. If you think about it, that's a humongous thing. That goes as far as just maybe you're in school or you're at work and you see somebody and you want to speak to them. You've never talked to them before. They don't talk much. Going and speaking to them, complimenting them, talking to them about something that they're interested in, asking them about the stickers on their laptop. It can be like, and that's just gonna, maybe earlier we were speaking in increments of 1, that might be 0.5, but whatever. You start to add them up, and you can start tomorrow. Even if you're ashamed of yourself, you don't need to tell people that. You just need to use the body that you currently have as a tool to do better than you've done worse, and you are redeemed. And that's really what it is. And at the end of the day, the world would be a much better place if everybody abided by those principles. I think we've lost some of the biggest potential in folks who are the greatest feelers, who have done a few wrong things and end up leaving this world early because of the shame and guilt that they feel. We're essentially then just left with the sociopaths up top or on this level with us who unfortunately feel the least and do the worst cyclically. If you've done some bad stuff and you feel broken up by it, congratulations, you are totally already on the path of becoming a better person. You just need to kind of start, and that's really it. Giving up, you just leave us with the people who actually don't feel that, and that's, you know, that's actually making the world a bit worse. You're, in that sense, already justified in existence. So I don't know what incentivized me to go talk about this right now. I'm trying to get HTML through my head. I'm cooked this semester, but and it's super dark, so I'm sorry about how like scary this video is. But case in point, you're totally a redeemable person. There's very seldom a time that somebody's not redeemable, and so long as you justify your existence through righting your wrongs by doing more right than you've done wrong, you're good to go. Leaving the world having done more wrong than right is not, if it is unjust actions that have made you feel this way, then in a way you can feel it may be an unjust action to be a good human being at heart and leave the world due to the guilt of the unjust actions you've committed. It is the most just thing, and you are totally, absolutely meaningful in doing so, to stick around and just do your best. I really, the world totally needs that right now. And if anybody's watching this video, I don't know who's watching it. This is like an anonymous channel for me. But if anyone's watching it and they feel as though they have nowhere to go, which at one point I did, feel free to just comment down below. You know, I'll respond, or yeah, just watch. Hopefully the video helps you. I don't know. I'm just yapping now. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the video, subscribe. I don't know, man. I hate doing all the exit stuff. But yeah, totally, you are redeemable. I know, like, coming from me, because you don't know me, who cares what I'm saying? But please, at least if you're able to think it through, ponder on the fact that you essentially just need to tip the scale. We're all so blessed to have the opportunity to exist on this planet. It's such a, and of course everybody has different circumstances. I'm not going to be all happy and just say we're all extremely blessed, but it is an extraordinarily rare chance that you were born you, and you have tools, just being you, to do so much good. And please try to do so. That is pretty much it. And you can do it too. I figured it out per me, so hopefully this helps somebody.